Hey, sweetie, your mother showed me this Carvana thing for selling the car. I'm gonna give it a try. Wish me luck. Me again. I put in the license plate. It gave me an offer. Unbelievable. Okay, I accepted the offer. They're picking it up Tuesday from the driveway. I haven't even left my chair. It's done. The car is gone. I'm holding a check. Anyway, Carvana, give it a whirl. Love ya.
So good, you'll want to leave a voicemail about it. Sell your car today on Carvana. Pickup fees may apply.
When you need to build up your team to handle the growing chaos at work, use Indeed Sponsored Jobs. It gives your job post the boost it needs to be seen and helps reach people with the right skills, certifications, and more. Spend less time searching and more time actually interviewing candidates who check all your boxes. Listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. That's Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Need a hiring hero? This is a job for Indeed Sponsored Jobs.
Hey everyone, my name is Tora Couture, and I'm the host of Tell Me What Happened, a podcast that shares true stories of people helping people. We're back with another season and have a ton of amazing new episodes, from freak accidents to unlikely friendships. Plus, this season has one of my favorite stories we've ever done on the podcast. If you're new here, welcome. And if you're already a fan of the show, welcome back. I can't wait for you to listen to season 6 of the Tell Me What Happened podcast, out now.
This season of Pack Your Knives is presented by the Charlotte Regional Visitors Authority, and we got something special, a 6-part Savor Charlotte edition diving into the people shaping one of the South's most exciting food scenes. Charlotte's been getting a lot of national buzz lately, and for good reason. From hosting Top Chef Carolinas to its growing presence in the Michelin Guide, the city is quickly becoming a place where bold new ideas and Southern tradition come together on the plate. So go check out charlottesgotalot.com for more. Sara, what's the one condiment you cannot live without?
It's probably sour cream. And I'm going to consider sour cream a condiment.
Oh, I allow it for sure.
Yes. Because it's a vessel for everything. Like I need that like dill sour cream when I eat salmon. I need like French onion dip, homemade French onion dip. I need a ridiculous amount of sour cream on a baked potato. I need it on everything. I can just eat sour cream. It's better than
straight
yogurt.
Is there anything that you do sour cream on that people are weirded out by and you have to explain it and then they taste it and they're like, oh, this is actually great? Like a hot dog, for example, are you busting out sour cream for a hot dog?
No, I do love cream cheese on a hot dog. But no, I think sour cream, it works for everything. Plus, like without sour cream, how do you have ranch dressing? Or shit, now I'm thinking maybe it's mayo.
Well, okay. I think the answer is mustard. I'm a mustard guy. And I think is it kind of controversial whether to do mayonnaise with mustard or without mustard? Because I find that mustard is just, I'm a spicy mustard guy, so Grey Poupon. I would also, I don't know if wasabi's in the same category, more horseradish, but I'm the guy that I'm the guy who like scoffs at you if you have ketchup on your hot dog.
I love ketchup. I want a bunch of ketchup and a bunch of like chopped up relishy pickles. I like everything to be really sweet.
Yeah.
I like sweet, savory food.
No, it's mustard. The answer is mustard. And our friends over at the Chef's Cut Pod, Adrian and Joe Flam, they did a condiment like bracket. I don't know if you saw this.
I did.
And they grouped mayo with mustard. And I was so bummed out because I really think that mayo and mustard would be in the final if they were going at each other in like the 64 team. If they're on the opposite side of the bracket, I think it would go mustard versus mayo. But mayo, no spoilers, but mayo won the competition as the best condiment. And I don't disagree. I'm a mayo guy as well, but I think mustard takes a little bit of an edge for me.
I feel like what you explained is what it feels like to be an SEC fan now, because there's so many SEC teams. We're like, how are you you got to play against everybody. You've already played against all year long. But I'm definitely going mayo over mustard.
Oh. This is Pack Your Knives. I'm Tom Haberstroh.
And I'm Sara Bradley.
Sara, this is the Duke's Mayo dinner party episode. I'm very much Team Mayo, and I know that you are too, that you like a Duke's Mayo, and there's a little bit of competition in the South. Whether Hellman's is kind of like the national brand, whereas Duke's is more actually just tastes better. It's tangier. It's not as sweet. And I think Hellman's uses like a bunch of sugar, and I'm okay. And you just talked about how you like, sweeter condiments, but your team Duke's, yeah?
Yeah, I want to be able to sweeten my food myself. I want to be able to add the correct amount of salt or vinegar, but specifically sugar. I also like the viscosity of Duke's mayonnaise better than any other one. And it just, I don't know, it tastes more homemade, if that makes sense. I just don't picture it, and I'm sure that it is, but I don't picture it being pumped out of like these huge, 500-gallon tanks of mayonnaise. Yeah.
You're just imagining some like you're at Maker's Mark and they have someone actually hand dipping into the red wax. You're imagining that for Duke's Mayo.
Yes, exactly. And all of those people are little old ladies that are dipping the mayonnaise.
In my head, it's just a bunch of old ladies preparing, what is it, egg yolk? How do you make a proper mayonnaise, would you say?
So I like to egg yolk, and I go ahead and put the oil and the vinegar in with the yolk and whip it for a little while, because I feel like that it's hard to make salt dissolve into oil. Like salt is not oil soluble, so I need to get it in there with liquid so that it can start to, completely break down. And then once I do that, then I mount the oil. And then you picture like a RoboCoop or food processor. You can do it by hand, but it's miserable. Yeah. And then just season it up.
Well, I think Duke's Mayo, first of all, in Charlotte, North Carolina, the bowl game in Charlotte is the Duke's Mayo Bowl. And it is so much fun. We predicted, I think preseason, we predicted there was going to be a Duke's Mayo challenge. And we are here with the opening of this dinner party, which let's just cut right to it because we promised it last week. We get Rhoda back in the competition, and they all do like the, oh, hey, like when she's introduced. And I always thought that was interesting, Sara, is because like if you're excited for the person to come back, you also don't want to be too excited because that means, oh, we can beat your ass. Like you're not a competitor. We're happy to see you because it gives me a better chance to move on. But with Rhoda, I think they genuinely are excited to see her, with the exception of Jonathan, that his brother is eliminated. But there is an element of surprise for the chefs that after the long day at Restaurant Wars, Kristen Kish comes out with Gail and is like, hey, by the way, we're going to do a dinner party. And here's Shuai Wong hiding behind the placard. And then also you need to figure out who's coming back into the competition later. I think it's great. I think Rhoda coming back is a really good outcome. I feel for Brand. I talked about it last week. I really feel for him because I think he did a really good job in Last Chance Kitchen. But it was weird. They didn't do the cliffhanger last week. We forgot to talk about this. Is typically in Top Chef, when they do Last Chance Kitchen, the final round of Last Chance Kitchen, they wait and then they do like, all right, and the winner is, and then they cut it. And it fades to black. And then you got to wait till next week to find out who wins Last Chance Kitchen. And this time, they didn't wait to reveal it. And they just announced that Rhoda's coming back in the competition. She gets all emotional, and then she comes back. So, Sara, can you explain for those at home who are wondering, how does Last Chance Kitchen work in terms of the schedule? Because we had a really weird season of Top Chef Last Chance Kitchen because of the Seeger, Justin, and Jennifer, the whole thing. And it just left a lot of people confused.
Well, I think I have to start by saying that this was like the wild, wild west of Last Chance Kitchen.
Yeah.
I mean, we saw a lot of things. Number 1 and number 2 eliminated, didn't even get a chance. They only brought back somebody once. So there were all these things that I think they had planned to like switch up. And then production just kept getting hit with another one and another one and another one. So normally, I hope this doesn't take the mystique out of it for anyone. I feel like if you get on Reddit or you look anywhere, it's already out there. So Top Chef producers, don't kill me. But everybody goes home. So let's say you get eliminated. We called it Heartbreak Hotel when we were still on the season. Like if you were still participating, you're like, oh, they went to Heartbreak Hotel. I think that other people called it, like they called themselves the ex-cons, or like they had, every season has different names.
Brittany Cochran said that it was the Losers Hotel is when they got eliminated and went to the Last Chance Kitchen hotel. Yeah.
They, okay, so you go. So it doesn't make any sense that they would make Tom Colicchio dress up one time a week, and they would break down the whole Top Chef kitchen and turn it into the Last Chance kitchen. And they would do that every single week, and they would film one person every week. So essentially what they're doing is they're stockpiling contestants, and those people are living in the other hotel. And then once they get enough, like it would be like once they were ready to go back and send their first person back, if it had been a different season, they bring them all. They all bring a whole bunch of outfits because they got to change clothes. It has to appear they're shooting on, and they shoot like the entire, maybe bring the first people back. They would shoot that like an entirety of like 2 days. And then maybe if they're bringing somebody else back, then they do that again. I know that one time, so the production schedule is stockpile a bunch of chefs, make them all go, cook it out in like 2 days. So that's why it was really weird, like that we didn't, like you said, Brittany told you that they kept them all in the dark about Seeger.
Well, yeah, I think they all, I think even publicly, I think they've all been like, yeah, we didn't know anything was going down. So, like it was it Justin? No, who was it? So it's just when something like the whole Justin and Jennifer and Seeger mix up, I think Top Chef does it. The producers do an amazing job of trying to keep everyone in the dark or as much as they can while they deliberate. And it seemed like in this instance, there was just who goes to Last Chance Kitchen? Who's coming back for Restaurant Wars? The producers had such a difficult challenge ahead of them to try to sort this whole thing out while still keeping Last Chance Kitchen, like the re-entry into the program. How do you manage all that? Like Tom was like, "Oh, hey, we'll explain it in a week. Something crazy and unusual happened on the show." And I guess at that point, the Last Chance Kitchen folks, maybe I guess they don't know really. I mean, I guess they're sequestered from the actual happenings of the show. I don't know. I wasn't there.
Here's what I think happened. I think we had Brittany go against Nana go against Rhoda, and then they were supposed to go against someone else, and that person should have been Seeger, but they were, I'm just guessing, this is just a guess, but they were very concerned about Jen and whether or not they would have to send her home. And I think maybe in the back of their minds, they were like, let's shoot these first 3, and then we'll shoot the one where they all compete against each other, because we need to have Seeger in our back pocket if Jen goes home and Justin decides to go with, or something like that. I think there was probably some foresight to it.
Do you think Seeger had his own like presidential suite at some hotel? It just like sequestered from all the different parties involved? Because I don't know. It's one of the things I could have asked him. Is, well, we didn't know that he was getting eliminated, so we couldn't when he came to Sala and we were there. I guess we could have. But we didn't even know that he was going to get eliminated. So it's all like a magic trick. Is I think the first year of Last Chance Kitchen, I just assumed that they were doing Last Chance Kitchen taping and the Top Chef actual competition in the same sequence at the same time. And then I think year 2, I think someone came onto the show and explained like, oh no, they shoot all on the same day. And it's just bop, 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 bop. And that's why they're so exhausted. Whoever comes out of Last Chance Kitchen is so exhausted because they've been cooking all day in multiple competitions. So no, you're not revealing anything here, Sara, about that.
I will say, so the season that Nene went home, so in Kentucky, we all got dressed up. We all got ready. We're all sitting in the vans outside, like waiting. Because it's a lot of stand around and wait. We're all like standing around, we're waiting. And then we go in and we walk onto set and we think we're going into a challenge. And like, as we come around and we open the door, there's literally like Last Chance Kitchen was going on. Like Nene and brother were up there. They were lined up. They were cooking. We were all like, oh my God, what's happening? The surprise is real. Like, I do have to say that. There's, you maybe know who you're going against, but that doesn't really give you any advantage. You've already seen those people cook, so, but some of it is like, what in the world is happening?
Yeah. When Rhoda comes back, what was what the reaction of the chefs? Were you reading any of them? They clearly love Rhoda, but
yeah, I was checking on Jonathan. I felt, I hate that for him, but, surprise, surprise, when brother's not around, Jonathan shines, right?
Oh, yeah.
When there's somebody not
chatty.
there.
Did you notice he was super chatty in the kitchen?
I know, man. He's like, like they said, we are not around each other. This is the most I've ever been around my brother since I was like a child. So maybe the whole time I thought that they were going to like help each other out and like push each other along, but maybe they were kind of holding each other back.
Yeah. It was clear. He was super chatty. He was life of the party, like always just had some comment to make. He was loud in the kitchen. And I do think that, he burnt his crostini, and I know we're going to get to there later, but it was one of those moments that it pays to be likable and it pays to have friends and alliances early on, because that when he needed Sherry's baguette to finish his dish, she could have been like, no, asshole. Like, no, like you didn't help me earlier on in the competition, or you're not a team player. And so I think Jonathan really, it seemed like he just had a different energy about him, but I think also people wanted to help him out, or like if he asked for some help, Sherry was willing to do it. At this stage, I was a little surprised, but I guess Jonathan, they like Jonathan a lot.
I think that, I don't know, man, I saw it all the way down to the finale on season 20. Everything was in a different language when we were shopping in France, and I didn't get baking powder. I got baking soda. I got the wrong thing, and I needed baking powder. And Gabri was like, oh, I have tons of baking powder. He's like, but I didn't get enough butter. I was like, deal. So we just traded, because you don't really want to see, like, I didn't want to see him have to cook without butter, and he didn't want to see a flat cake. So we figured it out. So I do think people help each other out a lot. There was the one moment, well, we'll talk about it a little bit, when Sherry was like,
dinner party, 12 people, Sara, at a dinner party at Sobeys, which I think just got recognized, a Michelin guide in Greenville, South Carolina. They hopped in their vans. I don't think it's an official Chrysler Town and Country sponsorship this year, but they hopped in their vans and they drove an hour and a half down to Greenville, South Carolina, which is, I've talked about, it's a great city. And that's the kind of home of Michelin Guide headquarters. And also you have Duke's Mayo. So you knew it was going to come. You knew it was here. And they're going to have a dinner party where I felt for them, Sara. You're after Restaurant Wars, and then you got to go plan your next meal right after that. Yeah.
Yeah, that was, I don't really know if it was a benefit. They were like, Dwen, you get a benefit because you get to pick first. And she's like, what? And everybody else had at least, what doesn't happen as quick as it does on TV. People are like staring at it. They're not just walking right up to the thing and writing it down. They're like taking some time. So she had to go right out of the gate and pick what she wanted to do and write it down.
Can I ask you this? Because one of the things that Eric talked about last year was how the lawyer or whoever comes in, the producer that basically explains every little thing to the detail. And Brittany was talking about Gabrielle Pascuzzi, who was on Top Chef Portland season. And the recommendation that he had, Chef Gabriel said, whenever they bring out the producer to like read all of the question or read all the details, ask as many questions as you can, because that'll give you time to dream up your dish, conceive your dish, and it just buys you time. So in this moment, when Dwen is going to the board, you think, have they gone over that whole prep discussion? Or do you think it really is in real time? Hey, you're going to go and you have to come up with a dish.
No, I think they present what the challenge is going to be, and then they stop for rules. And then, yes, great advice, Gabrielle. And then whoever else is listening, the other thing you want to do in that moment is you want to ask her to go to the bathroom. You want to be like, I got to attend one. You got to go to the bathroom. And usually one person, once you get like kind of down to the end, one person goes, and when that person gets back, the other person's like, oh, I got to go to the bathroom, because they have to let you go to the bathroom.
This is like our girls. It's like
they have to let you go.
We're leaving. If you need to go to the bathroom, go now. And then the other kid goes. And then as soon as we're about to hop in the car, the other kid is like, I got to go now too. And then, that's what happens in our house, Sarah.
Yeah. But what they will do is they'll like take your book. They'll be like, put your book down. You can't have your book out. You can have like your rules. They give you like a little thing of rules, and it's all printed off, and you have to sign the last page. And I always kept the rules. I have every single competition I participated in on Top Chef. I had the rules stacked up. I have them all. I saved them.
Amazing.
Everybody else would just like leave them on the table, and I'd be like, psh. I'd go back and like read them and like look, because in that thing it tells you exactly what the judges are going to be told, because the judges are told the same brief that you're given. Like that's that information they have access to. So
on this, what you're saying is, just to decode all that, is that Dwen had some time.
She'd had some time, but not as much as like Seeger.
Yeah.
Well,
what's your strategy here? So, my strategy would be, I would pick my greatest competitor, like the strongest competitor, as my next pick. So Dwen gets to choose not only her dish first, but she gets to also choose the next person who has to go up. And I was thinking to myself, oh, I'm going to go pick Lawrence, because if you give Lawrence like a half hour to think of a dish, that's just such an advantage. I don't want to give Lawrence that advantage, even though the cost is that he might have to ditch some of he doesn't have as many dishes to choose from because 6 other chefs have gone already. But I thought my strategy would be to pick the top competitor, the one I want to get eliminated next, as the next person in line. Is that where you would have gone?
No, I would have picked whoever my best friend was. I wouldn't care. Yeah. No, remember, you play nice. You got to play nice. Like, I would have had the time. Anthony was pretty sour that he didn't get that shrimp toast. Oh, you stole my dish. It wasn't your dish, Anthony. It is a dish that millions of people make. Like, nobody stole your dish. And then he brought it up.
No, Lawrence stole it. Your number one pick stole it from my number one pick. Let's just call it for what it was.
Well,
okay?
No.
He probably knew that he had a shrimp toast dish at his restaurant or back in the day. And he's like, I'm going to go with a shrimp toast. And he actually raised his hand. Lawrence did. He was like, I would like to go next.
Yeah. Well, it paid off for Anthony, right? To not do the shrimp toast.
Yeah.
But, no, I would have picked whoever my best friend was. I'd been like, oh, you. But I do think that, but also you kind of see it like whittling down, like there you see Oscar and, Jonathan and Seeger, like you see the more competitive ones getting picked first. The ones that I think are performing well are getting picked first, but I don't know if that has anything to do with, I don't know how that works out. Yeah. The draft, like when they do that.
Well,
that's a snake draft, right? Is that kind of what we call that?
I thought of you, Sarah, when they're doing this, because immediately Dwen writes croquette with tomato barbecue aioli, and that violates Sarah's rule number 1.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The best one was Jonathan, BLT. The B could have been bacon. The B could have been bologna. The B could have been Brussels sprouts. It didn't matter. His was such a smart move. BLT. That's it.
Yeah. Keep it as simple and as broad as you can be, right? Yeah. So and we saw Dwen didn't actually do a tomato barbecue aioli. She ended up going with a Carolina Gold aioli with horseradish and lemon aioli on top. So she did pivot, and they didn't knock her on that. It's like, wait, you wrote it here, and then it actually didn't come out that way. But it was as soon as she wrote it down, maybe it was the first, how the first person who breaks through the glass is always going to get bloodied. The first person who writes it on the board is always going to overcompensate. And then everyone behind them is going to be like, oh, I'm just going to be super general here. And Lawrence writes a shrimp toast and doesn't leave it, doesn't add a bunch of different on top of that. If Dwen probably had a second choice, she would have just been like, croquette. That's it.
Croquette. That's it. That's all. Croquette. It can be potato. It can be sweet potato. It could have been anything. It means and I saw a lot of like the quotations. It was like crab dumpling. And then we saw crab grabiche. Like those were, like it's gonna
interpretations.
Be grabiche, but yeah. Oscar wrote down a lot of words. Pimento cheese tostone with country ham. Like just right down tostone. Just that's it. That's all you need, man. Yeah. Plus you're giving away insight into what you're doing. So why are you sharing that much information? BLT. Beef,
Well, I think
lemongrass, Thai basil. I don't know.
that'd be so good.
Hello, listener. Producer May is here to talk to you about Quince Cookware. I know cooking can feel like a lot of work these days, especially when the temptation to order takeout is stronger than ever. But trust me when I say that quality cookware makes a big difference in your experience cooking at home. I just got myself a set of 3 Staub rectangular baking dishes. Yes, that's Staub because it's French, and French means quality. It's made of Portuguese durable stoneware. It's oven safe up to 570 degrees Fahrenheit. You can even throw it in the freezer if you want. And the best part is I know I got them at the best possible price. Because everything at Quince is priced 50 to 80% less than what you'd find at similar brands. You heard me right. High quality materials for half the price. How could such a thing be possible? Well, Quince works directly with manufacturers, cutting out the middlemen and passing the savings on to you. Now, Quince even carries fine wine, from Napa Valley Vineyards to Dom Perignon Champagne, enough to fill the Nile. Ho ho! So what are you waiting for? Refresh your everyday with luxury you'll actually use. Go to quince.com/dings for free shipping and 365-day returns. Now available in Canada too. Go to QUINCE.com/dings, DINGS, for free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/dings.
From hidden Mediterranean gems to the wilderness of Antarctica, Silversea invites you to explore the world in greater depth. Venture to over 900 destinations across all 7 continents. On board small ships that set the standard for elite ocean travel, every journey opens doors to extraordinary discoveries. And wherever you sail, you can expect the same Silversea promise: unrivaled service, unmatched comfort, and unforgettable memories. Visit silversea.com to learn more.
Tomorrow morning is knocking. Stock your fridge now. How about a creamy mocha frappuccino drink? Or a sweet vanilla? Smooth caramel maybe? Or a white chocolate mocha? Whichever you choose, delicious coffee awaits. Find Starbucks Frappuccino drinks wherever you buy your groceries.
I wonder about this, though, that maybe there is some strategy in writing out a bunch of ingredients because you're taking them off the board, so to speak, for the next person. So if you put country ham, then the next person might be like, oh, wait, I'm not going to do country ham, which, spoiler alert, that is a tease, is that we get some chefs later in the show doing the same dish, and maybe they should have talked about this beforehand, because that seemed like a mistake with Dwen and Oscar. But we'll get to that. All right, so Dwen goes with the pancetta croquette with Carolina Gold aioli with horseradish lemon aioli. She decided, called an audible and decided to do that croquette, which I believe it was Tom who might have said it tasted like a deep fried mayo, or maybe Gail said it was like a deep fried mayo bulb, and then Tom was like, actually, that does sound pretty good. So what are your thoughts on Dwen's decision to go with that croquette with the double aioli?
Yeah, I mean, you just don't need that much mayonnaise, right? Like the mayonnaise, I think mayonnaise would have been good like inside the croquette. That would have been great. And then she just needed a little to hold it to the plate, maybe a little dot to hold it to the plate. And they were big too. They were big boys too. Those were 2 biters, 3 biters. So I just picture it all kind of like pulling out everywhere. One thing I do know about Dwen is she likes to cut up ham and put it inside of things and either bake it or fry it. We've seen this from her a couple times. She did like the Gruyere, and I couldn't remember, but I went back and looked, and she had done something else like that too.
Mm-hmm. So it's not quite grapes and Jennifer Grape,
It's not Grape Jennifer, but it's not Sauvignon, but
wouldn't that be? Yeah, wouldn't that be amazing? Is if she purposely made it super hot to just burn the shit out of everyone's mouth, and so everyone else's taste buds would be destroyed, just total annihilate. she's like, oh, I'm worried it's going to burn everyone's mouth. And she was the first one. I did note, so Lawrence with the shrimp toast, shrimp salad on top, it looked like kind of like almost like a derivative of like a lobster roll, in my head is like a greasy, he was worried it was going to be too greasy. I thought he was actually going to win this challenge. Anthony came out with the crab dumpling with chili crunch and mayo. I saw it was the Momofuku one, the chili crunch, which I have in my fridge. And I thought it was interesting because Shuai Wong has his own chili crisp dry mix from Spice Walla. And so he is going to be like laser focused on, how is that chili crisp tasting? Is it my chili crisp? Does Whole Foods Market even carry the Shuai Wong's chili crisp? But the store-bought chili crisp didn't get knocked on that. And they actually thought he had the winning dish. So my guy didn't seem to matter in the grand scheme of things because there's no like holdover. Remember in years past, the quick fire, your performance in the quick fire would have something to do with how you did at judges table. Anthony won the 10,000 for his crab dumpling with chili crunch and mayo.
Yeah, we didn't even see who they didn't like. I mean, I guess we kind of saw it in usually they do our favorites and our least favorites. They just gave us their top this time.
Yeah, Seegers was clearly.
I would like to have seen him bash Seeger a little bit. Seegers. So Grabiche, like classic French sauce. I love it. It's one of my favorites. It usually you have like the hard-boiled egg whites or yolks and you kind of push them through like a very fine sieve or a tammy or something like that. And then it gets mixed with I do mine with like cornichon and shallot and caper and more mayonnaise. But there's a textural part to it. And I would think that adding more crab to the Grabiche, I bet it looked a little weird. But I think Seeger's a little weird,
Yeah.
I think Seeger does weird food and they either love it or they don't love it.
Don't love it. He would have been eliminated if this was an elimination, for sure. Oh, yeah. I think he and Sherry's twice baked potato with onion, scallion, aioli, it looked great. Like he had the little potato chip on top. He had the tartare, where I guess if she called it a twice baked potato, it didn't seem like a potato dish, more is as a steak tartare dish, but whatever. They thought it wasn't, it needed more mayo. I thought that was going to be an awesome dish. Maybe it was not seasoned enough or it didn't feel like it had enough mayo in it, but I thought that was a great bite. I would have been really excited to have that one.
I was really excited for Rhoda's. Like I saw her making fresh oyster crackers. And she was like, they're from oyster, there's oyster in them. She had like trout dip, creme fraiche, mayo, cornichons, like that, like smoked fish dip type thing. That's very Southern, very delicious. And they said it was salty. And it was salty.
Right on time for me. That feels like perfect amount of salt.
Like, oh,
I'm just right here. I'm like, yeah, if it's too salty for you, I think it was delicious. So yeah, Rhoda, what is it? Starburst, what is it? The rainbow trout. It's in in Asheville. Trout dip, Asheville. Sunburst. Yeah, not Starburst. Sunburst trout dip in Asheville. Amazing. And so when she said that, I was like, oh, that's going to be a big winner. And oyster cracker. So tell me, why is that so impressive to you, Sara, that she did it?
I mean, I think if you think like two things. There's like oyster crackers, like people are throwing in there, like clam chowder type thing, you know. And then there's but the fact that she had the little ring molds out, like you could tell she was trying to pull out all the stops. She wanted to come in really impressive. She has her little ring molds out and she's got her little thing and she's, I thought, wow, I never thought to make those. And so I always am excited when I see somebody doing something that I don't do. So
yeah, went the extra mile there for sure. We talked about Seeger's, Jonathan's BLT deviled egg with pimento sauce and bacon jam. What is with him and the pimento espuma thing? He did it again here.
Did he do it?
Yeah, he did like this pimento little thing at the bottom underneath it that like it was a pimento cheese thing that he put the BLT on top of. Second time he did it. Last time they hated it, But this time they really enjoyed it. So Jonathan's BLT deviled egg was in the top 3 for this challenge. I wanted to ask, is there any, are there like mayonnaise derivatives? Like aioli, is that technically a mayonnaise or is it different? Is it a cousin of mayonnaise?
No, I would say that, I would say that mayonnaise is a derivative of like aioli or iuda, or there's like different, I think every country or every style of cuisine has their own name for it. And we Americans call it mayonnaise. Don't know. I mean, I would think, it makes me think that there's something French about it, like the lyonnaise, like that ending to it. If only we had access to a Google and we could look it up right now, but we won't. Someone will just tell us. You got it?
All right. Mayonnaise, according to Wikipedia. I'm going to Wikipedia. I'm not doing AI. Mayonnaise is a French cuisine appellation. Appellation, I think I'm saying that right. That sounds like Appalachian Mountains. That seems to have appeared for the first time in 1806. The hypothesis invoked over time as the origin of mayonnaise have been numerous and contradictory. Most hypotheses do, however, agree on the geographical origin of the sauce. Mahon and Menorca, Spain, during the occupation by French troops in the 7 Years' War. Other theories have been dismissed by some authors as being somewhat a retrospective invention aiming to credit the sauce as the invention of a southwestern France, when most likely its origin can be found in the port city of Menorca. And its origins may have been in the ancient remoulade. Another hypothesis that mayonnaise is derived from aioli. Finally, the process of emulsifying egg yolk was known for a long time to pharmacists who used it to prepare ointments and salves. How about that? Mm-hmm. Medicinal properties to mayonnaise.
All right. I just know I like it on my sandwiches and my burgers. I love a pimento cheese sandwich with mayonnaise. Kill me now. That's what my cardiologist is saying, but I love it. I like mayonnaise on everything. I do. In the restaurant, we put aioli. I mean, we serve like aioli as a condiment to bacon, fat, cornbread. We serve it as a condiment to our French fries. We don't put ketchup on the plate unless you ask for it. You get like this fennel aioli. So, yeah, I would have loved to have been in that challenge. Man, I would have loved to have eaten 8 mayonnaise-laden appetizer, snacky bites. It would have been good. It would have been so good.
Oscar does the pimento cheese tostone with country ham. Everyone seemed to really like that. He was in the top for that. I gotta say, I feel like it is terrifying to present to 12 people. I'd rather present to 500 guests. But walking in and presenting like your dish to like 12 people at dinner party makes my skin crawl a little bit. I don't know why. Would you have... I just found, because Rhoda, weirdly enough, came out by herself for her oyster cracker, but the 3 others, the 3 chefs before them, it was Seeger, Jonathan, and Oscar, all came out together. And I was like, wait, that's going to leave Rhoda to go by herself. So Rhoda had to come out, and there was no other person. I was just nervous that they're staring right at you. There's something way more intimate about preparing for a dinner party and standing in front of everyone, rather than like, oh, there's like 100 guests here.
That wouldn't have bothered me. I would have been like, yeah, what is it? I mean,
but why was Rhoda by herself?
I don't know. I think it's just maybe the way they had them laid out. I don't know.
No, I don't know why. Everyone was like 2 by 2 by 2 by 2 by 2, and then she was just chilling by herself.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, Anthony, Oscar, and Jonathan in the top, right? That was the top there, and then they have to go and do their, they have to do their main event at the dinner party. So the first round is Anthony's got the salad. Jonathan is going raw. Round 2, Lawrence does soup. Sherry does seafood. Dwayne does grain. Seeger does poultry. Oscar does red meat. And Rhoda ends up getting the scraps, which is dessert. So... any thoughts on that? Because I'm a soup guy. I've many times on this show, I'm a soup fanatic. And so I am thrilled that Lawrence got to do the soup, because that's the thing that I wanted to eat the most on this one.
Yeah, I either would have gone soup or raw. soup, raw, salad. Salad is a hard one. I probably would have picked soup if I had first choice. I would have gone straight to it.
Mm-hmm.
So, and also, it was hot there. I would have gotten chilled soup probably. Yeah, I would have gotten chilled soup. I don't know. I liked that they didn't announce the quickfire winner until the end, so everybody was kind of like in the dark and worrying about how they'd done.
Interesting curveball there.
Yeah, it was kind of cool. I mean, yeah, I'm not going grain. Obviously, Dwayne gets it last, so it makes total sense. And I think
so Seeger goes poultry, Jonathan goes raw. I'm nervous about raw. I feel like raw is a easy choice and the judges know it. So it's a higher bar to clear because the prep is, preparing a cold dish, whether it's like he said, oysters or crudo or ceviche or a tartare. Feels like it's an easy thing to prepare. So you actually have to like really do it well.
Yeah, no, Rob. I know usually I like to go last, but I probably would have gone first. I probably would have gone with raw or soup. I would have wanted to, for this one, I would have picked what I wanted to cook. And I do love to make soup. I love, love, love to make soup. Plus, they knew that they only had $1,200. So $1,200 for the quickfire and the elimination challenge. I thought the way they divvied up the money was a little bizarre.
Isn't that the fairest? It's the most equitable?
I don't know. I mean, do you really need as much money, Anthony, to make a salad as you do Oscar to make red meat? Like, part of the challenge is to, yes, it is individual, but it is to create a tasting menu that is progressive in that way. And we saw that's what happened with Dwayne and Oscar, but because Oscar, he hadn't planned to put rice on that plate. He got it at the very end. Yeah, Anthony didn't need as much.
What would you have done? So you would have said, hey, we got $1,200. You got the salad. So can you do like 125 with that? Yeah. And Oscar's going to get 175 or whomever it is. So you just be like, can you just
Anthony
take off a little bit?
Anthony would have said no because he's not, I don't think he likes to, I think Anthony would have said no, but I would have fought for it. I would have been like, listen, like Sherry's got to do seafood. Like she's got to get some seafood up there. She is earlier in there, so it doesn't need to be as prominent of a course, but do you really need $150 to make a salad and 12 bites of food?
Here's something, Sarah, though. If you're all trying to make it under the 150, how are they only 2 cents under the 1,200? Do you know the math I'm talking about? So someone went over because if you're $15 under 150, then that means 15 other dollars are out on there for the taking. How did they get just 2 cents under the $1,200 number?
I think some people were under because we heard them say, okay, take what the last person rang up and add 150 to that. And that's where you have to stop.
Right.
So probably Anthony, I doubt Anthony spent that. Lawrence, he bought corn and bok choy and some chicken and eggs. Eggs was expensive though. I saw those prices. So I think that I don't think they all spent 150. Somebody definitely got some extra money. Who it was not Rhoda. Rhoda, I can't imagine Rhoda spent more than $30 on that dessert.
Looked like it. Sorry.
Yeah. Ugh.
Can I say that the plating was weird on this one? So I think if like the restaurant Sobeys must have had only one plate in the whole entire house, because when I saw Anthony come out with his little tomato watermelon dish, it didn't look very appetizing because I guess the lettuce was on there, but it could have been used in a different plate, a smaller plate. There was a lot of negative space on these plates. And I felt the same way about Rhoda's, where it just, I don't know. I felt like they could have used a bowl or a different dish to present these, because it didn't do these dishes any favors, the way that Rhoda's came out. And I felt like maybe in the glamour shot, it was in a little bowl. But Anthony's, when he presented his tomato salad, I was like, oh, that doesn't look great. And like he sprinkled bib lettuce on the top. It just didn't work.
I couldn't get over his watermelon. Like I could tell that the watermelon was rough. Like it did not look good. And it showed him like compressing it with sugar. Like he was doing everything he could to make that watermelon taste better, which was really risky because if it didn't taste good and he put it on the plate, they'd be like, why did you put it on the plate? No one was forcing you to put the watermelon on the plate. I do think that Dungeness crab he put on the plate was probably left over from his appetizer. Like he didn't use all of the Dungeness crab. And so he was like, I'm going to put some on my salad.
Which they didn't really care for.
No, they said, well, why is there just one piece of crab? It's super out of balance. It felt like the lettuce also felt out of place. I'm wondering if because he thought it was a salad, he felt the necessity to put, or like he felt like he had to put lettuce on it. But I don't think, when I think of a salad, I don't think of a lettuce salad.
Yeah, this is 2026. I think we're post lettuce salads. Right?
Yeah.
Jonathan, though. Jonathan has the raw dish, steak tartare, cornichon, chimichurri. Shout out to one of my favorite spots in Miami, La Sandwicherie, for introducing me to the glories of the cornichon, which like I love a cornichon pickle. So it's fantastic. And he does a chimichurri with that, and it was innovative. It seemed like, tartare is kind of quote unquote easier to prepare, but he decides to do this hack. It was a roller coaster for Jonathan in this. A lot happened with Jonathan. He decides, hey, here's a little hack I have. If you want to clean out your meat grinder, why don't you use some ice cubes and then smash it in there, and it kills the meat grinder.
Yeah, I use plastic wrap. I use saran wrap. I take the piece of plastic, like cling wrap, whatever, you pull a big piece of it off and you kind of stretch it so that it's into one long, like it's tight, it's not like all loose, and you just pop that in there, and the machine can't cut it. It can't cut through the blade, but it will wrap around the stuff and push all the meat out.
Oh,
so, yeah. I love microplastics. I love the way it tasted my food. But no, that. I've never heard of the ice. I've never heard of the ice.
Your cardiologist is yelling again.
I know.
But have you ever heard that ice hack before with the meat grinder? Is that like a thing in a kitchen?
Plastic. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm sure it is. It didn't work, but also the meat grinders on Top Chef are pretty subpar. I will say that.
Well,
unless
Sara,
they've improved them, they're pretty subpar.
This is where I tease the Brittany Cochran interview with Pack Your Knives, where she explains the whole sausage meat grinder disaster that happened that got her sent home in the Southern Sides dish. We have lots to talk about and we'll reveal. So make sure you hang on for Brittany's interview, because she explains what went down in that episode. Little teaser on that is make sure that when you go through the equipment check that the right meat grinder appendages are the proper meat grinder.
They didn't have. Oh shit.
Yeah. So that she got screwed. But you know what? She went to Last Chance Kitchen and she had an opportunity to redeem, and that's how the cookie crumbles sometimes. And the meat grinder, it seemed like he didn't get all of his meat grinded, but it didn't seem to matter because it never came up again. But what he did do was he forgot about the crostini and forgot, I got to check on that. Oh no, they're burnt. Does anyone have any, Sherry, do you have the baguette? And Sherry, team player, she's like, oh yeah, I've got some. Go ahead. You can pull some in there. At no point when that whole thing happened did Rhoda think, you know what, I should ask someone for eggs because I've run out of eggs. She didn't speak up.
I think Sherry was back in a corner, little pastry corner, all in her own world. The minute that I saw her spreading out those meringues, I knew they wouldn't work. I could look at it.
Rhoda. You said Sherry? Sherry?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I think Rhoda. Rhoda. Shit. Rhoda was in her own little corner. But we do see like later on when they're all sitting around kind of in stew, and she's like, if I'd had more eggs. And in the weirdest voice, Sherry's like, oh girl, if you had asked, I would have given you some. I had extra. And it just didn't sound sincere. But she did give Jonathan
That's what I'm saying.
I think that, I think they all think Rhoda is a threat. I mean, I obviously think she's pretty good. I picked her high.
Now at McDonald's, a McDouble is $2.50, so you can get your gym gains on, or just get lunch for only $2.50. Get more value on the under $3 menu.
Limited time only. Prices and participation may vary. Prices may be higher for delivery.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
If we talk about Rhoda's dish, it was the Eton mess with whipped creme fraiche, berries, and lemon pith. I have no clue what in the world.
And eating messes? Yeah.
Make a lemon curd. Like, why did you continue to blanch? She put so much effort into that lemon pith puree, which probably could be perfected and was definitely something she'd done before. She knew what she was doing, but it didn't turn out right here. But when I saw her spreading out the egg whites, I knew that they weren't going to set. There's no way. You need the sugar to hold all of the, you need it to hold everything together, and you need it to caramelize and to cook. And yeah.
What do you do for at that point though? If she didn't have any more eggs, she couldn't have redone it. And that was the thing at the judges table there. They're sitting there saying, you had 4 hours to do this. And at no point did you decide to redo this entire dish to get it set. And she goes, I didn't have the eggs. Sorry. Because if you don't have eggs, how do you fix that?
Well, I probably would have, it didn't look like it had a curd on it. So I don't know where all the yolks went. So she must have had yolks left over. She could have done something. I'm sure somebody had some flour. Somebody had some wonton wrappers left over from the crab dumpling. I mean, you start scavenging around because that just wasn't going to work. You couldn't have put it on a plate. I'm really surprised she didn't go home.
Me too.
Yeah. I almost feel like it should have been her. But Oscar's chef coat screamed, "Send me home." Screamed it.
Turmeric.
Poor guy.
Jumped into a pit of turmeric. Look, I mentioned it earlier, and in years past, he's not going home when they include your quickfire in your judges table, because he had a much better dish in the earlier one where he was in the top 3. And if that was a tiebreaker, Oscar's not going home. And I was kind of bummed out when he also is really the funniest guy in that room, where ABC always be seasoning is just a great line. And he made the mistake of adding rice at the end, and it was an ugly mistake because Dwen had the grain, and they should have just said something like, do you really want to go with rice? Because, that's the grain, and we're going to go to the judges table and present 2 rice dishes. And I haven't seen Tom Colicchio this angry all season. Then when they brought out 2 rice dishes, it looked like he wanted to flip the table.
I don't think that. I'm wondering if they just didn't think about it until the food went down.
Yeah.
And then Tom said something. But also, I think that for both of them, the food that they serve and they eat all the time and that is comfort to them has rice on the plate, right? There's rice on the plate. Mm-hmm. They've both been putting rice on everything all season long. And so it didn't feel out of place for him to put rice on the dish. It just didn't register that, it was a grain. I feel like his dish could have been plenty. He could have, he could have called it like he had the red meat, but he could have focused on the vegetables. It could have been the red meat could have been the kind of it could have been red meat focused, but still a vegetable dish. There were a lot of ways to do it. He had a ton of veggies on there. Yeah.
If you look up a sancocho, it's a hearty traditional stew, and it has large chunks of meat, whether it's beef, chicken, pork, and yuca, plantains, and corn. There's no rice there. There's not of course it can be accompanied with rice, but if he had just had a saucy stew, I think he would have been fine.
Yeah.
But it was the pork, the beef. It was, what was it? The short rib. It was not salty. It was dry. It just didn't work. And if he had a stew and it was just that with the flavored vegetables, he would have been fine. But it's not just the rice, right? He didn't cook a really good dish, and the protein, when you fuck up the protein, mess up the protein, you're going to go home. And I thought that because he did well in the previous the quickfire, I felt that they might have incorporated that into this. And I got to say, they're usually really good about how they're not going to judge, like a blind judge, that they're not going to judge you based on your history on the program. But it came into my head a little bit watching them at the dinner at the judges table. Are they really going to send Rhoda back after she just came back from Last Chance Kitchen? And I circled poor Oscar. I circled his name. I said, I think Oscar's going home. It wasn't just because of that. I'm not saying Rhoda got sent home or stayed because she just got back from Last Chance Kitchen. Human nature, I just kind of feel like it maybe is a 1% thing that's in the back of your mind, is that you're sending her right home right after this. I don't know.
I mean, I wrote before on the top of my second page of notes, before they ever even discussed, like, I think it was, I wrote, Oscar gets family edit. Bye-bye. Like,
No.
like, I think that I felt that he was going home. I felt that his time was coming to an end. I mean, he did do quite a bit more work than Rhoda did. Like, they even said about it. They're like, the meringues are soft. The puree is too bitter. What did she do for
What'd
4
you do?
hours? Like, what did she do? And, you know, I think Oscar at one point, he never even mentions, I was really surprised. Like, why didn't he own up to being like, you know, I had this much money to spend and I didn't feel like I was giving you enough of a complete dish. I didn't feel like there was enough meat there, and I wanted it and the progression to work. So in the last moment, I decided to add rice. It wasn't a part of me planning to give it to you all the time. I don't know why he didn't own up to it, or at least they didn't show him doing it, because I probably would have said, like, it wasn't in the plan, but I didn't feel like I was giving you enough meat. So I wanted the dish to feel more substantial. Yeah.
It's tough. Tough way to go out, Oscar, especially no Last Chance Kitchen. Like, this is not the time to go out with the competition right after they close up shop for Last Chance Kitchen. And Dwayne says, who am I going to bully now, as he's leaving the competition. I thought that was cute. There's clear, and my team, they gotta communicate better, Sara. The whole rice thing, Dwayne and Oscar, they've been awesome. You know, thick as thieves the whole season. And then right when it came down to it, if they just communicated about the whole rice thing, and someone should have said, hey, maybe not the best idea to present 2 rice dishes. Oh, hey, bud.
Okay, there you go, buddy.
Hey, I don't know. Why should I wave at a dog?
I don't know. He's like looking at me like I'm like the way Oscar looked, like, you know, like when he had been caught like doing something wrong. So I'm wondering what this dog did in that corner of my house.
You're just filled with dread right now, Sara.
If you're just listening, you're not watching. I just pulled my 10-month-old puppy dog.
That's
His
right.
name is Smalls, Scotty Smalls.
Smalls just dropped a Smalls in the corner or on the rug.
You're killing me, Smalls. It's so cute when my kids say it. It's so cute.
You're killing me, Smalls.
Yeah.
Well, Oscar is killing me because I've only got 2 chefs left. You have 5. So this is really hard for me. But let's just round out the rest of them. So Sherry with her stuffed pepper with lobster mousseline. There is a chef there who is eating her dish, who's also Brazilian, and she's like, shout out to Team Brazil, and she's in the middle. I thought it was, with the corn ragu and salsa verde, textures were great, the spices were great. They said thought it was really another good dish from Sherry. She's just cruising. She's not going to get the wins, but I feel like she's just been cooking good food all season long.
Here's what I thought was interesting is that they were upset about the rice, but there was no mention of the fact that both of them served corn in the same course. Like you had this like corn ragu all over the plate. You had a corn soup. And like he put chicken. It seemed like maybe it wasn't a chicken dish, but there was quite a bit of poultry, and I know that items can replicate and, that's fine. But I thought corn in the same course was a little risque. But they loved sherry's, the flavors they said came together. They loved the texture. They also, the loving of the texture was quite a frequent comment in this episode. They also loved the texture of Lawrence's soup, and they loved the texture of Anthony's crab dumpling, and they really got into the texture of the food. I think I counted it like
Great
6 times. I think it was 6 times, 6 or maybe 7. I can't tell.
This is the problem. I talked about it last week. Sometimes a word just sticks in your head when you're doing these reviews and these critiques, and you just repeat yourself over and over. So I sympathize for sure. Mouthfeel. What's another good way to say the word texture without saying texture?
I could think that maybe for one of those, it could be like unctuous, like maybe it had this like nice, like the way it kind of
coated. There's a party in my mouth.
Yeah. I do love when things are toothsome. Toothsome is a way to talk about texture. I'll tell the cooks, I'll be like, just make sure those carrots are toothsome, and they know what I mean. Like they're not crunchy, but they're still like your tooth is still like it's still you need your teeth, but I don't want crunch. Toothsome. It's like in between all the way cooked and raw.
You don't want it to be toothful.
Yeah, it can't be crunchy. I don't know if that's a really word. Toothsome.
Yeah, I like that. Okay, so Dwen does the seafood rice, which was kind of like, in my mind, it was like a Vietnamese paella or something like that. It was with the herb salad and dashi Vermont. I thought it was a good dish. Presented next to Oscar. I think the better rice dish if you're going to score it one way or the other. They obviously felt that way. Again, Oscar, the rice muted everything. It just needed more sauce. It needed more stew. It needed something to bring up the flavors, ratchet up the flavors a bit. And another one goes home from Team Tom. So, yeah.
I will say they really liked Seekers. Chicken Vesuvio. I don't know. Vesuvio. I loved the, he called it pea and ham puree, but it looked so good. That dish just looked so good. Chicken jus, potatoes. They said it was perfectly cooked, salty, and in a good way. So I feel like for me, I was thinking that looks like a Tom dish. I felt like that's something you would like. Because I think when I was at your house, Allison was making chicken. She was making something like that. I can't remember.
Yeah.
Shit.
It was like a
bad description.
Chicken shit?
Sorry.
Your wife, your lovely wife was making chicken shit for you.
Chicken cacciatore. That's what it was. Chicken cacciatore. Yeah.
I would have loved that dish. It also it felt like a very Seeger dish. Like if you just did a blind viewing of the dish, I think I would have picked out that was Seeger. And I feel like Jonathan's steak tartare was really looked really cool. It was presentation was top notch. He just yeah. I
love a steak tartare. Okay, so here's my favorite way to eat steak tartare. Number one, I would never put steak tartare through a meat grinder. I like to hand cut it. I think that I just like the texture better, but I know that meat grinding is very classic, but I love a hand cut steak tartare. My favorite thing to do is take a whole egg yolk. So you take the egg yolks. I like them with Louisiana hot sauce. Okay. You're going to get one of those little ramekins or a little dish or something, and you put your egg yolk in there and you cover it in hot sauce and just put it back in the fridge. You come back about at least 12 hours later, no more than it. The longer it sits, the hotter it gets, but it turns into jam. The acid and the heat and the salt, it cures the egg yolk slowly, but different than when you cure it in salt. It doesn't pull the moisture out. It just cures it. It becomes the jammiest, hottest thing. And that with steak tartare smeared on bread, it was my favorite pregnancy dish. I bet I ate half a pound of steak tartare a week.
Am I imagining that that's not a good thing to do when you're pregnant?
I don't know, man. It was raw egg yolks and raw beef. Probably not. But I knew that.
Your doctor's listening. Your physician is listening to this episode. And just saying, Sarah,
with a 4 good glasses of Cabernet. No. No, but
sorry, kiddos. Sorry.
That's it. So when he was talking about an egg yolk emulsion, like I need my steak tartare to have a whole bunch of egg yolk. That to me is what really gives it that beautiful texture. So if you're at home and you want to know how to make the most delicious hot sauce cured egg yolk, I just gave it to you. Cover it in hot sauce and let it sit in the fridge for a little while. Take it out. Oh my God. On bread. Yeah. And I think
is Crystal the hot sauce you're using there?
I like Louisiana.
Louisiana.
Yeah. I like Louisiana. Yeah. And they said it had like this really spicy chimichurri. Yeah. But I think that was probably from raw garlic. I'm going to guess it was like spicy from garlic. Like the crispy shallots, the toasted baguette. Like I bet that's the dish I wanted to eat of all the dishes. That was the one. That and the soup.
The soup.
Yeah. Man.
Looked so good. That would be a tough one for me, but you and I are both, I think, in agreement here that both of those dishes were outstanding. Yep. Looked awesome. Top 2, bottom 2. Did you like this thing? Did you like the little, like the 4 chefs come out and they're all terrified? I think Jonathan said his blood pressure is coming down a little bit. He was terrified that he was in the bottom 2. I was thrown for a loop.
No, I feel like once it gets a little longer or a little later into the competition, they kind of just, you stay or you whatever. I mean, I always
had to have known. They had to have known.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes. There was no way. Rhoda was not proud of that dish. You know, she even called them a soft meringue. That's not, I feel like that's, those words don't work together.
This gets back to when Brittany and Tristan Epps Long got into it on their episode in Southern Sides, where don't say I had to put something on the plate, or don't over speak or overshare on your dish. Keep it simple, keep it direct, and then leave it, and then let them ask questions about it. So if she had just said a meringue, do you think maybe they would have said the same shit?
I mean, she was not tied into calling it that name. You know, I think that like if she had used all those egg whites there and she had a bunch of egg yolks, I'm sure that somebody had some milk or some heavy cream, obviously, because she had made creme fraiche. So there obviously was some dairy product floating around. I saw an ice cream machine in that place. She could have made like this beautiful berry sundae with the creme fraiche ice cream. You know, I'm sure there was some butter. She could have made a little brown butter caramel. I'm sure there was sugar. Like there was a million things. She didn't have to do that. She had all of the components to make another dish. But she's excited to be back in the competition. She has a plan. She's like, I'm going to stick to it. I'm not going to deviate. And she got lucky this time.
Can I just say, I forgot, I added in my notes, when she comes back into the competition and they're like, Brandon, what happened to Brandon? And she goes, Brandon fought. I was like, are we on the Oregon Trail that Brandon died of dysentery? You know, like he fought to the very end. It was like, I giggled because it just seemed very dramatic answer. He really fought. And I know she's, you know, his brother's right there, you know, so I get it, but the way he fought to the very end, which, you know, I felt like it was very impressive when he did a pasta for a 45 3-course meal. He chose to do pasta and nearly pulled it off. But clearly Rhoda still is not bringing her A game when it comes to the main competition. And the first one with the oyster cracker wasn't in the top 3, although we both like the concept. And then on this one, she should have been sent home if it weren't for maybe a technicality on the rice. You know, like that, hey, that was a rice dish. Why are you bringing out second rice dish next to Dwen? I think if it wasn't that whole grain mix up, I think Oscar stays.
What would have been really...
If Dwen just did a non-rice dish, I think Oscar stays.
Yeah. I mean, what we really needed was for Rhoda to do a rice pudding. And then it would have been, the day would have been complete. You know, I challenge our listeners to do something. So one thing that I love to do is Tom starts talking when he gives this like very, like sometimes you'll see, like if you guys might not see it, but like on set, and if you're watching on screen, this is what he does. Right before they announce, he's got his like head down. He's like rubbing his forehead. He's like really thinking. He's probably ripped out his little earbuds that they use to talk to him at this time because he's tired of listening to everybody. And he has this moment where he says, he says like, this is basic. And the person going home is going home for making basic mistakes. And normally I feel like I can figure out who he's talking about in that moment. Like I always listen to what Tom says and then see if I can figure out who it is. Because he always gives like a little hint about what it is. So when he said basic mistakes, I thought it was going to be Rhoda because the meringue and like the lack of effort or the lack of, not effort, I'm sorry, Rhoda, the lack of work that happened in 4 hours and the meringue and the serving something that you knew wasn't good. I thought it was going to be Rhoda. And then they said Oscar. I mean, I did think Oscar, but I just, by Tom's description. So I always like to listen to what Tom says and then see if I can figure out who's going home.
You're right. I thought Oscar was going to go home until Tom said the basic thing. You're right.
Yeah. I know. It's always fun to kind of pause it and be like, all right, what did Tom say? We would do that. Someone would be like, what did he say? And then try to figure it out. Because usually you know exactly who it is.
Yeah,
it's
usually
a
it's a tell. But now that I'm retro, go ahead.
I was just going to say also, I think he really takes it seriously. Oh my God, dog. It's like you see the screen shaking. He's scratching his butt. He's like taking the time to like, he really is thinking about what he is telling the chef because it is such a big moment in our life. Like we're either going home or we're staying and it's going to be on national TV. And so I really think he takes a lot of effort and a lot of thought into what last little piece of advice he gets to give someone. So I thought for sure it was going to be Rhoda. And then they said Oscar.
All right. Well, Sara gets 16 points this week. I finally had a down week. It's been a long time. I forgot what it was like to not beat you in fantasy here. I have -3. Scoreboard is what it is. You're up by a lot.
Say it out loud though.
Okay, fine. All right. Sara is winning 124-58. So,
that's not too bad.
You know what? It's not that bad. That's including. Well, no, it is 124-58. It's 124-58. I will just say, in our point system, Anthony is in number 1 slot, 54 points. Lawrence is 52. And then you've got Sherry at 29, Dwen at 28, Jonathan at 21, Rhoda at 11, Seeger at 6. So I've only got 2 left in the competition, Anthony and Dwen. I feel really good about both of those, but it's going to be tough to go 5 against 2. You could have Michael Jordan and LeBron James, and it's going to be a tough one when you're going against 5 chefs.
Also, have we seen fan favorite stuff? No?
Not really. No.
Because I'll be very honest, you guys. Tom and I get to see this before the rest of America watches. Yeah, because, the way we're able to drop this is we get a little preview. So I watch it twice, preparing for the podcast, and then I don't watch it when it comes out live. Because I'll tell you right now who my fan favorite is. Who you picking? Because I'm picking Dwen.
I'm picking Dwen, yeah.
Oh, fan favorite. She's fabulous. She's funny. She's doing a great job. She seems really compassionate. She's stunning. Like, she's a great cook. Like, she's done really, really well. I'm going Dwen.
She was also super fun at the event. The Sweet Lou's barbecue event, super fun. Oscar, super fun. Lawrence, I feel like he is a leader at that group. Like, I don't know if he's fan favorite, but when they're doing the whole breakdown of the Whole Foods market, $1,200, he's the one with the pen and paper doing the math. I feel like he's taken a leadership role. I think he has a huge, and rightfully so, a huge fan base behind him. But I'm with you. I think Dwen, just this, she's great. And I will say, I'm glad she's on my squad. I'm glad Anthony is. I'm surprised Anthony has the most points up to this point. Oh, no pun intended. But he has 54 and Lawrence has 52. And I will say I did get a message from one of our listeners that I wanted to read out here because I don't watch every episode like when it airs again. And someone had reached out, and I wanted to see if you had the same thing. There was a preview of Last Chance Kitchen that kind of revealed who got eliminated.
Top Chef has not been great about keeping it super secret. I feel like they've had a few, and they also are like dropping, they're dropping LCK on YouTube before the episode goes final. Is that right? Is that what they're doing?
Yeah, there was I did see a complaint about that like either the thumbnail is showing it or the YouTube is uploaded beforehand. So if you are watching YouTube and then it pops up, you have no choice but to know who's in Last Chance Kitchen. Mm-hmm. But this person said in the episode, Kristen Kish sent both teams to the back. Anthony wrote this. To the back while the judges deliberate on the winning team. Right after that, the show cut to commercial, but the very first ad was a Last Chance Kitchen promo showing Seeger, Brandon, and Jonathan with a voiceover saying one of these chefs is about to be eliminated. That unintentionally spoiled the outcome since it was revealed that Tierra Reina had to be the losing team. It completely undercut the suspense of the next segment where the judges reveal the winner. He said, I'm curious if others noticed this too and whether this is something Bravo or production should be more careful about because I feel like it's a pretty big miss in terms of editing and ad placement. So I did not catch this, but that does seem like something you want to clean up,
Keep it tight, Top Chef.
Yeah. You know what? In our little circle here, Maze, our producer, just said toothsome is the Kentucky al dente.
Yeah, I think so.
Make this pasta a little toothsome.
Is that a real word?
For sure.
Or is that just something that I say?
For sure. That's a real word.
Okay.
Next week, they're going to a lake. They're going fishing. I hope it's as drunk as the party that you guys had out on the lake.
Oh, man, that's my favorite. That's the best time in Top Chef I've ever had. Best
Mise en place race.
Hands down. Oh, mise en place race. Mise en place race is my favorite. Mm-hmm. I have been known to dominate those. That's the one I broke down the lamb and everybody was like, oh. Yeah. I was not always the strongest person in the kitchen. And so I always felt like I would have in my little notebook, I would time myself, like how long it took me to butcher, a New York strip, or how long it took me to break down a halibut, and how many pounds the halibut was. And then I would average out this many minutes per pound, start to finish. I'm talking portion, clean up, put away, everything. And so I would always try to push and get faster.
You'd moneyball that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I couldn't pick up the 80-pound halibut because it was slickery and kind of oddly shaped, but I could clean it and clean up after myself better than anybody else. So that's all I needed.
Well, we got mise en place out on the lake. And they're so happy that you were not there because you would have kicked their ass.
I would dominate some bass. Dominate some. And I said bass, y'all. I said bass. Yeah. There was a B on there.
I'm excited. It looks like a beautiful day out on the lake. I'm guessing it might be Lake Hartwell. There's a couple lakes over there in Greenville, South Carolina that they get. It was cool to see them out on the water. Just get out a little bit. I was like, wait, Greenville's not on the coast. So they go. It's not Lake Cumberland, but nothing.
It's not Lake Cumberland. It's not Lake Cumberland. Also, shout out to our shirts today.
Oh, big golfers today. Look at that. Mm-hmm. Ryder Cup, Bethpage Black, and we got Pinehurst over here. Yeah. And I'm sure there's a really nice golf club in Greenville. So they're in Greenville. Yeah. Beautiful little river that goes through the downtown. It's nice. And now I'm hungry and I'm going to get some Duke's Mayo.
Oh, yeah. Duke's Mayo. I'm going to make a Duke's mayonnaise and mayonnaise sandwich.
I want that
Sara Lee artisan bread. That it's like the
organic.
Yeah. It's not organic. I'm sure it is 50% chemicals, but damn, it is good. It is not a plug by them, but if y'all are listening, send me cases of that bread. It's the best white bread I've ever had. It's so good. I'm sure because it's full of preservatives, but my God, it's the best bread.
And if you take Brad out of your name.
Sara Lee. Yeah, Sara Lee. Should have been a bread maker.
Yep. Well, for Sara Bradley, I'm Tom Haberstroh, and this is Pack Your Knives. Hey, it's Tom here. We've got another special episode of Savor Charlotte Edition presented by Charlotte Regional Visitors Authority. We're joined by Charlotte's own Brittany Cochran, who competed on Top Chef Season 23 Carolinas. She's the executive chef of Stagioni here in Myers Park in Charlotte and the only Charlotte hometown contestant on this season of Top Chef. Brittany explains what it was like to be the Queen City representative and how she wanted to break stereotypes that she faced in the restaurant biz. She also reveals what it was like to hear Tom Colicchio and Greg Collier give her flowers on the show. And for the Charlotte diners out there, we've got a treat. Brittany pulls back the curtain on the ghost named Blanche that still haunts her restaurant. All that and more coming up right now. I am so excited. We finally have Brittany Cochran, the executive chef at Stagioni here in Charlotte, on Pack Your Knives. And on this special program, we got this 6-part series with CRVA that we're kind of shining a light on a lot of Charlotte regional chefs in the area and want to kind of like tell their story. And I don't think anyone really has a more interesting story with the Top Chef season that's going on right now than actually someone who is on the show. So first of all, thank you for doing this, Brittany.
Thank you.
I
this is
appreciate you coming
awesome.
on.
Yeah.
You gave me the business the other day because we did an event at Sweet Lou's Barbecue.
Yep.
And you let me hear about how I didn't draft you number 1 overall in the Top Chef draft. So I apologize.
That's okay.
It's
I didn't either.
Big misstep for me that I was like, all right, we do this draft. So for those who don't know, at Pack Your Knives, we do a draft every year of contestants, and we did a blind draft this year. So usually we watch the first episode.
Okay. And
we got the list before the first episode in case I went to any of these events. I didn't want to like know who is on there before I did the draft. I do these things pure, right? And then I got the list, and there's Brittany Cochran from Stagioni. And so I had you on my big board, and I realized when I did did homework on your bio, this is to go to Top Chef without having been on Chopped or any other food competition shows. I was amazed at how well you did on the competition, given the fact that like this was you went from like single A baseball to the majors in terms of TV, food TV and competition shows.
it's insane. It's still very surreal. Yeah, especially because like I think I did the only TV experience I've had is like our local here. And that was like talking about cookies for kids cancer. And so like something I'm very comfortable with. And so like that was nerve-wracking but easy. But then to get the opportunity of Top Chef, I was like, holy shit. like this is nuts.
Yeah.
And it's still crazy to think like if like we shot back in, late summer, early fall, and it's been 6 months now, and it feels like just yesterday that we went through all of this, but then it also feels like a year ago. So it has been an absolute wild ride. Still can't believe I did it. Never thought I would ever do anything like this, especially in my hometown.
Yeah. You outlasted some chefs who had been on Chopped or been on Beat Bobby Flay or all these other food TV competitions. And I've heard you talk about this, how it was intimidating to be in this group of esteemed chefs who also have been on these programs. And here you are, not only being a competitor on Top Chef, but it's in your home city.
Yeah, a lot of pressure.
You got to show out, right?
Yeah, a lot of pressure. I was, like, I'll be vulnerable. Like, I was extremely intimidated walking in and seeing these chefs. I recognized a few, but then, first quick fires and first challenges, I was just like, wow, this is the major leagues. And like, this is the top of the top. We're all at the top of our career in our restaurants. We're the top guy, but then you put all of us together and we're like, I was like, I questioned. I was like, do I even belong here? Like, am I good enough to be here? And then, we got through the first challenge and I was like, kind of blacked out. Like, I don't even like really remember. Like, I had watching back the first episode. It took me it aired, and then like a couple days, then I watched it.
At the Raceway, at the Charlotte Raceway, yeah.
And then I remembered the heat. And I was like, so hot. And, and then the elimination challenge of being at La Belle Helene. And like, I don't even remember judges. Like, I don't remember Kyle Johnson being there. And I did an event with him in New York, and I acted like I'd never met him before. And I was like, Oh my God, I am so sorry.
Kyle Johnson of Community Matters Cafe.
Yeah.
And he's there at La Belle Helene, and you're just, I'm sure it's just like an out-of-body experience.
Absolutely. And then, you know, all the timing is absolutely real. Like with the timers, the pressure of working together, like side by side in this small kitchen, in kitchens that we don't know. You know, we do get a little bit of a walkthrough, but then timer starts now. And then you're like, okay, here we go. And then standing in front of the judges, also intimidating. And then the amount of production that Top Chef has is insane. And again, maybe I know that it's more than a lot of other reality shows just because there's so many of us and we're moving around that they have to have cameras on all of us. And so like not only the judges table there, and then the amount of cameras in the background where I'm just like shaking, like literally shaking.
Yeah, it seems like without that experience, you're really thrown into the fire.
I had no clue. I had no clue what I was doing, what to expect. Like it was just nuts.
And there's things like in Top Chef that you do on set that you don't normally do in a kitchen. Like, for example, hey, Jossie, what are you cooking over there?
Yeah. They're like, hey, Chef Brittany, ask Chef Jossie what he's doing. And I'm like, hey, Chef Jossie, what are you doing? And I'm like, I don't care what you're doing because I don't know what I'm doing, you know, like, but we have to play into it, you know, because it is a show. They want to see that. And then, you know, one thing that I thought I didn't realize until after watching a couple episodes that we don't get to really taste each other's food and or see, because our studio is massive,
yes.
Right? And
the Top Chef kitchen.
Yeah, Top Chef kitchen is insane.
I think it's like 40,000 square feet or something nuts. And I took a tour of it. It was awesome just to see. It's like a football field of stuff.
Yeah.
And sets. It's like an SNL set where they have to build all these things.
Yep. And then like the stew room and then the kitchen and the pantry and like everything that you could imagine, the best of equipment and like, you know, kitchen.
1,000 plates and 1,000 forks and 1,000 bowls.
Even like 5 Vita Preps. Like in a normal kitchen, we have like one that maybe works, you know, sometimes. And so we are so far apart that even when we walk our dishes up to the judges, like we still can't really see it and or hear. So like we have like a lot of these dishes that these other chefs did, like when watching back the episodes are the first time I'm seeing what they've done.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, well, shit, no wonder they won.
Yeah. Well, it's incredible to talk to you about this because I've been watching Top Chef forever. And to get the call that Top Chef is coming to Charlotte was huge in my world.
Yeah.
But as a chef in this city, what was it like for you to find out that one of the top culinary programs, television programs and competitions is coming to Charlotte? And oh, wait, is this something I really want to do?
Yeah. So when I found out that it was going to be here in Charlotte, I was ecstatic. I thought it was going to be great for the city. Like I was born and raised in Columbus, Ohio.
Yeah.
But I came to Charlotte to go to Johnson and Wales. And then I moved to New York and then I came back. So like I always say that like Charlotte, like my career grew up in Charlotte. And so like that's where I've worked for some like legendary chefs here in Charlotte, and then I did my stint in New York, and then I've come back. And to hear that it was coming to Charlotte and that I had the opportunity, I was like, wow. Like my personal pressure, of course, but then just to showcase what this city has grown into within the culinary world is awesome. I mean, when people think about the South, of course, it's barbecue, but there's so much more than barbecue here in Charlotte. And I think that having Top Chef showcase that has been really awesome. And I think it's just going to continue to explode this city and the culinary world that it deserves.
Yeah.
It's so exciting to see.
You, I mean, to think about when you came back. So you go to Johnson & Wales, go to New York City, you work for Marc Forgione, and you come back after, a stint in New York City, which is a totally different lifestyle. For a Columbus girl to go to Charlotte and then go up to New York City.
Yeah.
I'd imagine some of that experience translated to going on Top Chef in terms of like this completely unknown universe I'm walking into with not much experience in this space. You overcame that and you did well in New York City. Did that translate for?
I think so, because I used to say that the hardest thing I've ever done in my life was moving to New York, because I had no plan to ever go to New York. I remember in culinary school, like day one, they're like, who wants to own their own restaurant? And like everybody raises their hand. And I'm just like, I'm like, I'm not doing that. And then it's like, what do you want to do? I want to be on Food Network. And I was like, no, not for me. I want to move to New York City and work for Michelin. I was like, not for me. And then why
did you think it was not for you?
I just didn't think I was ready. I didn't have an end goal. I just knew I wanted to learn as much as I could. So culinary school was obviously the first step. And I had just recently made the big change of leaving home and coming down to Charlotte, not knowing anybody. I don't like change. And so I was like, I'm good here. Like I can be successful here.
Yeah.
And then, I graduate culinary school and then I was like, I guess I overcame that. Like I got comfortable here. So I was like, okay, I'm ready for my next challenge. And that was moving to New York. Me and my buddy, like we went through a shitty breakup and, we're just like, let's get the hell out of here. Let's go to New York.
Yeah.
And so we packed up all of our things. And
that's the time to do it.
Yeah.
It's after college.
Yeah.
Have a relationship that ends and you're like, I need a new start, fresh canvas.
Exactly. And so of all places, we chose New York and we went up there, no apartment, probably like a couple $100 in our pockets and, found a spot in Crown Heights, Brooklyn, and then just ventured off into the city. And that was September 1st. I walked into Mark Forgione September 5th, and I started September 7th.
Holy cow.
And I was like, I knew of him, and then I researched him, and I was like, oh shit, like I got, whoa, here we go again. And
so that moment of, oh shit, you had on Top Chef too.
Absolutely.
And you had that experience of like, oh, I did this and I overcame those fears and that self-doubt and do I belong here?
100%.
And you came out with a lot more experience and Michelin-starred restaurant experience. And you come back to Charlotte and what was that, 6 years ago when you came back to Charlotte?
Yes, so 7 maybe, yeah.
Yeah, but right before COVID hits.
Yes.
If I had sat you down, Brittany, and said, in 7 years, you're going to be on Top Chef, and Top Chef is going to be in Charlotte, and you're going to be the representative for Charlotte, what would you say?
Not a chance. No way. There's like, I'm a competitive person in like life and like for myself, against myself. And like, I like the challenge. I like to overcome it. I like to find a solution. That's what we have to do as like chefs, right? We have to figure things out. And I love our industry because there's always something new to learn. There's always something new challenge of, oh, okay, now the walk-in's down or, now we got to fix this. And like, I like learning those things and I'm good at that. But I never thought that I would ever do anything on TV. And like, would it be cool? Okay, yeah, maybe. But like 7 years ago, it'd been like, no fucking way.
I mean, you just said, I don't want to be on food TV. Like when you're in New York and they're having everybody out there line up with their ambitions. This wasn't on your big board.
Nope. What was on my big board? I'm not really sure, but it wasn't Top Chef. Nope.
So when you go to Top Chef, you look back on your career like, wow, how did I get here? And episode 3, you're pretty open about like the lows that you've had at that point in your life that you'd experienced. What is the moment you think about where you're like, I went from here and now I'm on Top Chef. What does this look like for you? And how much of a driver is that for you to remind yourself like I've overcome so much in my career and my life to get to up here where I'm at?
I think it's just that like I overcame it and like I didn't see it that way until until now, honestly. And like, I see that like I have overcome a lot of shit and I have succeeded in a lot of shit. And I think it's just self-doubt of, do I belong here? And like, how did I get here? But then I look back and I'm like, no shit, I belong here. Like I actually... Like, I do deserve it. Like, I have really overcome a lot of things. I have worked really fucking hard. I have never given up. I took culinary classes in high school. I went to culinary school. I went to New York, and I'm still doing it, and I still love it, and I'm still growing, and I made it to Top Chef.
Yeah.
Like, holy shit. It's wild.
It's an incredible story.
Yeah.
And I didn't draft you number 1 because it was a huge leap. You know, all the other chefs, whether it's James Beard, this.
Exactly.
Michelin star, this, and all this. And here comes Brittany Cochran, who's like, not only am I here, but this is my city, and I'm going to show out. And you did. So I want to, did anything, when you're on Top Chef, did you ever go back to Chef LaMonaco and Eastland, Fairfield, where you're like, I'm pulling from all of these people, these mentors or teachers that have taught you all these things, and you find yourself in a Top Chef, you got to cook this in 20 minutes, where you're like, I'm so glad I had that experience back when I was coming up in culinary arts school and coming into JWU and doing all these things.
Yeah,
and it's translating to Top Chef.
There was a lot of moments. In our first challenge at La Belle Helene, I did some sort of competition in high school, AFC or something like that, like we got to do. And I remember it being timed, and I remember like we had to like run around each other because it was like chaos. And a kid, I don't know if he was on my team or what it was, but a kid like threw a pound of butter to another kid. And during La Belle Helene, it was so chaotic that like it was our first challenge. None of us knew what we were doing. We were putting blenders on the floor. I had a moment back of that memory, and I was just like, we would never do any of this in our own kitchens.
No.
Like, you know, but like we're not under this pressure. And like, I think even Jonathan said like, please don't let any of my line cooks see this right now, you know, kind of thing. And then, you know, throughout the competitions and other challenges, definitely a lot of Mark Forgione and working in his kitchen and things that I got to do with him and see, and like going back to like the basics of like proper techniques that I learned probably in culinary school and maybe in a little bit of high school, but really honed in working for a Michelin chef. That like, you know, simple things like I'll never forget one day he was like, if I have to teach you one more time how to fucking sear mushrooms, I'm gonna lose it. And I was like, yes, chef. You know? And so like when like little techniques like that, like I still carry with me through.
What do you need to know about searing mushrooms for those at home?
High heat, don't season right away. At a minimum oil, let the mushrooms do their thing, and they'll tell you when they're ready. If not, Mark Forgione will.
You'll be in your head, like, it's ready.
Yeah.
Well, when you're on the show, do you have any idea of what it's going to be like coming back to the real world of when people now, you're an executive chef at Stagioni, but it wasn't like you might have been recognized at your local Whole Foods or around town at a restaurant when you're just grabbing a beer or something or grabbing lunch somewhere. How much has your life changed?
A lot. You know, not only with the opportunities through Top Chef of like doing different events and, you know, and opportunities like this, but Stagioni is an open kitchen. And so I'm right there.
Yeah.
And I'm there pretty much every day. And so it's been a lot of fun. You know, Top Chef has such a massive fan base that like, I don't think I was prepared for that. Not realizing how many people are so invested.
Gwen was saying the same thing.
It's crazy.
That even she thought she knew what she was getting herself into, but she has no idea.
Yeah.
She had no idea. Our fan base is wild.
It's nuts. And so, I mean, it's people of all ages, but what's been really interesting is kids.
Oh, yeah.
They're obsessed.
My daughter says hi. She's like, she sees you on the show, Charlotte. She's a Charlotte girl. She's 9 years old, and she sees you and says, I can be that person one day.
Yeah, absolutely, which I love. And so we have, like, Stagioni is definitely kid-friendly. Not a lot, you know, we don't have a lot of kids, but...
We have pizza and scissors, which is super clutch.
Right. And the pizza bar, which is exciting to sit at. And again, like, I'm right there. And so... you know, there's been a few kids that have come in and they're just like ear to ear and like the, you know, dad's filming in the back. And so then depending on the night and depending on the time, I'll ask parents' permission and I'll invite the kid back to the kitchen and we'll like do a pizza together or, you know, sugar the Zeppelis and like put a little apron on them and like, they're just like ecstatic. And then I get emotional and I'm like, I don't even know your name.
Did someone do that for you? Is maybe a family member or someone who just went out of their way to make you like in the kitchen or learning how to cook?
My grandparents were huge. Like we always cooked together. And then, you know, I think my mom had said that around 6th grade is when I really started to talk about how I wanted to be a chef. And then, you know, that like time was Rachel Ray, Emerald, Bobby Flay, like Food Network, Barefoot Contessa, like was just like blowing up. And so, dinner time was really important in my family. And so we would, like, sister and mom would sit down, and then me and dad would act like we were on the cooking show and they were our audience. And so, like, maybe that does tie into it, but those are definitely core memories for me.
I met your mother at the premiere event.
Yes.
She was gushing how proud she was.
She's amazing. She's been my biggest fan my whole life.
So she came out to Charlotte for that, or does she live here now?
No, she still lives in Columbus, but she dog sat and house sat
That's
for
right.
me.
She did mention that.
Yes.
You have 2 dogs?
I have 2 dogs, yep.
And she was looking after the dogs.
Yeah, so grandma came to take care of the grand dogs. She's actually here in Charlotte now because I just got back from Philly and have the other trip coming up. And so she's my biggest fan, takes care of everything for me.
It is wild to have your home here so close to taping. The like when you're on the show, you're home, but you're not,
Yes.
right?
That was really hard.
Charlotte hosted the NBA All-Star Weekend a few years back.
Yep.
And my job is in the NBA. And I remember going to these events and feeling so weird that like I could just go home and just sleep in my own bed like 5 minutes after I go to an event at the Spectrum Center right here. Because Charlotte's a small town.
Right.
But I could at least go home. Whereas this weird experience was like everyone I know in this world is here like a convention and they go to their hotels and I can just go sleep in my own bed.
Yep.
That's pretty cool. But you weren't even allowed to do that.
Nope.
What was that like?
So weird. It sucked. It did. We got used to it. We did. But it was really hard to adjust, especially because I was so close to home. My mom's there, my dogs are there. It's not only is it the show is so challenging with the actual challenges, but the mental side is really difficult and being so sequestered, so close to home. I often think about like maybe would I've done better if I was in a different city and I had to just really focus on the challenges, which I did, of course. But then I'm like, I could be home
with my dogs
right there. Like, and I could walk from the hotel to my house. I could run away. Did I think about that? Maybe. Did I do it? No.
No.
And I'm glad I didn't. But we got used to it. And like I have said in all the interviews that I've done that this group of chefs, we are going to be so tight for life. We are so close. We talk every day. We do whatever we can to visit each other, do events, just get together. I think that's a win in my book. No matter how far I got, I am so proud of that. I'm so honored to be a part of this group. And, because we have no TV, we have no phone, all we have is each other. So we better fucking like each other.
Yeah.
And we ended up falling in love with each other. And then we got really good at puzzles and Legos.
What was this, the green pajama crew that you guys
had? Oh, the Green Gang.
The Green Gang, that's right.
Yeah.
Talk to me about that.
So during filming, every 2 weeks we got a dark day. And that means no filming, no interviews, nothing. And so we could do...
Why do they call it a dark day?
I don't know.
It's a pretty dark way to put it, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a free day.
It's a free day.
Yeah.
And so me being in Charlotte, I'm like, you guys choose what we wanted. We had to break up into groups, right? And so me, Rhoda, Seeger, and Oscar just have this connection. And so we're like, we're going to spend our day together. And they wanted to go, of all places, on a Saturday, South Park Mall.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, sweet. But okay, like I live here, so like you guys choose. No problem. And so...
What a great showcase for the city of Charlotte to go to the South Park Mall.
Right.
There you go. Okay.
And it was so funny because like we obviously had a Wrangler with us who drove us everywhere. And we're going through these beautiful neighborhoods in South Park. They all know I live here. And we passed this beautiful house. And I was like, oh, that's my house.
Yeah.
And they're like, what? And I was like, I'm just fucking with you. I live in West Side.
Yeah.
But so Seeger needed to get a sweatshirt. And so we do the mall. And then we go to Target. That's what it was. Go to the mall. We get Legos. We get smoothies.
Clutch.
And... Then they're like, we got to get out of here. Like, this is too much. And I'm like, it's Saturday.
Yeah.
In South Park. So we go to Target, get some like other things. Seeger needed to get a sweatshirt. And there wasn't a lot to choose from, probably because it was August. And so he finds the green one. And I was like, oh, I like green. I'll get one. Oscar's like, I'll get one. And then we find the matching sweatpants. And then like Rhoda's in like health and beauty. We're like, Rhoda, get over here. And it was the last 4 sets. And then that's the birth of the Green Gang.
What kind of pressure was that to show the other chefs your favorite spots in the city?
Well, we didn't have a lot to do. So I don't know if South Park would be my top. But there was a little bit of added pressure, not only because I was the local, but after filming, we would order food. And, they would order from here or there. And I'm like, guys, like, and not the chefs, it was production.
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, I know a lot of other better options around here.
Yeah.
And so then I got put in charge of dinner. So we cooked a lot, which was awesome. And that was fun. We did like a lot of breakfast cooking, and then dinner we would order from some local spots, and they were happy with that. And so
when you're going through this with other chefs and you come back to the city, the chefs have come back. We met at, I think, in New York City first at the James Beard event.
Yep.
And then I saw you over at Sweet Lou's, and you guys were going to go somewhere else afterwards. Right once that event was done. I kind of imagine that's kind of super fun for you, is to like after the shooting is done, like all the production is done, you get to kind of like unwind with the chefs and take them to your favorite spots. Are there any that in particular you went to and want to shout out, or that locally you're like, hey, I took Dwayne here, or what?
So when we did the meet and greet with Sala, or was at Sala with Seeger and Nana.
Yep.
Then we went to Providence Road Sundries.
Yeah, of course.
Classic in Myers Park, right? And then I live on the west side, so Fremore Tavern is kind of my like on the way home sports bar, kind of catch up on sports, have a beer. They do late night food, so we went there. They do shot skis, we did that. Shout out to Space Case on Instagram. She's the one who initiated that one. And then of course, when we were at Sweet Lou's, afterwards, we had to hit up Plaza Midwood. So, and then it's funny bringing them back to like these spots that they know of, because like we did Supperland.
Right.
So they're like, wait, we've been here before. And I was like, yeah, over there, but this is the fun side.
Yeah. There's Giddy Goat, there's Whiskey Warehouse, there's Burial right over there.
And then,
You're like, and they're like, oh yeah. Charlotte is such a small town that you'll just be driving through and you'll be like, wait a minute,
I recognize that.
Didn't we go? And you're like, yeah, we did do that like 8 years ago.
Right.
But the city is changing. It's growing up. It's getting to this place where a lot of really successful restaurants are coming into the city from like Atlanta, Nashville, Austin, LA, New York.
Houston's coming.
Houston, right? But Stagioni stands as a kind of an institution of, we've been here. It was the first mansion, the first, I guess, there's a ghost in the...
Blanche. Yeah.
Can you explain this?
So she was, her and her husband built the villa, and she loved to entertain.
This is what, in like the 50s or something like that?
I think even further back.
Okay.
And actually her photo is right at our host stand. So you've seen it.
Yep.
And so she loved to entertain and throw these like beautiful, immaculate parties. And
I think it was the first pool in Charlotte too.
Like that's where I believe the pool is where Ruru's patio is. And so it's like Stagioni is definitely, it's hidden. It's hard to find. We don't have a huge sign. Providence Road, we all know, is nuts. And, and so then we have the back lot. But yeah, Stagioni's been there for 14 years. And I've been there, July will be my 6th year.
Have you heard the ghost?
So when I first started, there were a few things that me and Blanche were getting to know each other.
Stop it.
Oh yeah, I was there by myself, and I was on pasta station. Then we have a shelf above, and then the line is behind us. And I was like prepping. Then I turned around. My notebook was on the top shelf. Wait, yeah, it was my notebook on the top shelf, and I had of course a quart of coffee down on my prep station. And I turn around, I'm like doing something on the range, and then all of a sudden my notebook flies off the shelf and lands straight into the quart of coffee. No one else was there. And then I can't remember. It's been a while.
Wait a minute.
Like, I think we got pretty tight that first year.
Were you a believer before this?
Yes.
Or did she make you a believer?
No, I was definitely a believer just because of Bruce's stories. Leanne, our GM, who's been there since day one, she has some wild stories. And so, like, I wanted to believe because I didn't want this to happen to me. Nothing dangerous by no means, but just spooky. And there's a few other things that I don't really
Do you
remember.
hear things? Like weird things upstairs or?
Not anymore. Oh, there would be times that, so Stagioni, on one wall is all photos of the original mansion.
Yeah.
And then one wall is all mirrors. And we have 2 front windows that are covered by, pretty blackout curtains. And so there's not a lot of sunlight.
Right.
And so there would be a couple of times I would be doing like just admin stuff and like on the computer sitting at a table in the dining room. And I would see like a white shadow of as if there was a woman in a white dress, like running by.
Nope. Nope.
But look, I accepted, she accepted me. And so like we haven't chatted in a while.
This is wild.
It is weird. I haven't even thought about this in a while.
Well, it's one of the cool things about Charlotte that like I don't think a lot of people know about is the ghost of Blanche at Stagioni.
Yeah.
So you're look, I will say when I went to Stagioni years ago, my wife and I we sat up on that pizza bar and you were super kind, so approachable, and you gave us the time to just like talk over the menu and stuff. And I would have stupid questions because we were big Top Chef fans. And so the ability to have an experience, I think, is one of the food is incredible. Pasta's incredible. The pizza is top notch. But I think also it's an experience at Stagioni that it doesn't feel corporate. It doesn't feel like something that, we're just going to build this and keep up with all the latest trends. It feels like its own unique thing.
Yeah, and I think that was, thank you for saying that, because I think that we take a lot of pride in that, and that's exactly what Bruce Moffett wanted to create. And that was one thing when I started at Stagioni, the open kitchen, and like being able to have that time and create those relationships with our guests. Like, Stagioni is definitely a neighborhood spot. We have a ton of regulars. And for having an open kitchen, I can go out and talk to them. I can become friends with them, answer their silly questions, or, like just be more intimate. And I think that's so important. I think that's really attractive as a diner. And just to see the care and the personality of me, our food, and like just the whole vibe of Stagioni. And I think that's one thing that is just so, it just creates such passion that from our staff to my kitchen, like I love when people say it at the pizza bar, like, it is just so smooth back here. And I was like, you should have saw it 5 years ago. But it is. And like my staff knows that like we're an open kitchen, like, so we have to look good. You look good, you feel good, you cook good. It's like one of our mottos that we say in the kitchen. And that's from our personal to our stations and to our plating. And I love the pizza bar and the people that like are just like, dinner and a show. And then like I can hear a little bit of like conversation. Dining room gets loud, kitchen's loud, of course, but I can hear conversations. And then once the food hits, then it goes silent. That's like probably like my favorite thing about service is that like, okay, we did it. We did it right. And like these people are like just looking at each other and like, holy shit. And I'm just like, all right, nice job, boys.
Yeah, it's awesome. And that interaction and the intimacy of the restaurant, it's dark, dimly lit. It just feels like its own place, and it has soul to it. And a literal ghost that is jumping around and flying around and knocking notebooks off a shelf.
Right.
Did you ever know that Tom Colicchio went to Stagioni or ate your food?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he was awesome when he came in. It was pretty...
When was that?
2 or 3 years ago.
Okay.
One of our regulars, Tom, was in town for, I think, a charity event, and who was connected to this regular. And so we knew that Tom was going to be coming in. And it was around this time because we had ramps and strawberries. I know that. And because I did this weird ramp strawberry pizza. I thought it was good. Tom said it was fine, just not his favorite. And I was like, okay, I'll take it. But then he was so kind. He had really great things to say about our food, about service, about the restaurant. I didn't want to be like too much. So like, I think I just went out to the table once and just
introduce yourself. Say, hey, how's everything going?
But then he came back to the kitchen, said thank you. We took a photo, said thank you to my staff, and it was great.
How about that?
And I was like, hey man.
I'll see you in a couple of years.
Yeah.
What was that like to have him say, I know your food, I know you can cook at this level. It almost was like a backhanded compliment, right? It's like, I know you can bring it.
Yeah. So day one, we looked at each other and he's like, I know you, right? And I was like, yes, we've met before. And I think he like made a joke, like no pressure. And I was like, great.
Sure.
And then, when I got eliminated and him saying that, I was proud because I was like, I know how to cook. And like, this is a whole nother level. And I got to where I'm at and I'm okay with it. But I'm glad that you do know that I know how to cook. And then with Greg Collier, with his comment saying, and I did not know this until I watched the episode back just recently of him saying like, I'm glad that you said that because she is one of the top chefs here in Charlotte. And I was like, fuck yeah, dude. Thank you so much. Like, because I think we've crossed paths maybe in the past, but I really got to know him during that Southern Side Challenge and seeing his personality. And like, so like for him to know that I do know how to cook and that he has heard of me and because he's such a legend here, like that was fucking badass.
Walk me through, set the record straight, what happened with the dish. Because watching the episode, something didn't seem right with the edit of like, something went wrong, but they didn't quite explain what happened. And I will say that Seeger won that dish, but I actually thought his pork belly that we got as diners was undercooked to the point where a lot of us weren't able to eat it.
Oh, no.
And so we were like, oh, the judges are going to kill him for that. We didn't actually know it was Seeger, but we just assumed whoever made this dish, they're just going to kill that chef because it's an edible. And for you to be sent home on that dish, I remember watching it and having a completely different reaction to my experience as a diner and then the judges' table. And then watching the edit, I kind of felt like whether the steamer or something didn't seem like it was adding up on the show.
Yeah, there was a lot of hiccups. So it was a difficult challenge because not only were we turning Greg's insane Southern sides into an entree, being in a different kitchen, obviously different equipment, and then it was a service style. So we had two services. So we had 90 minutes to do our first and then another 90 to do our second, seating basically. And so when we get the challenges, we get told what it's going to be, right? And then we get rules, what we can and can't do, can and can't use.
Yes.
And, all of that. I always just listened and, because everybody else had questions that I also had but were answered. So I was like, great. This was the first time I actually stood up and I was like, okay, where's the meat grinder? Where are the attachments? Because my main component is going to be a sausage.
So I need to know that I have everything ready.
Yes.
Yep.
Here it is. Awesome. So I go in with a great because me and Anthony both had collards. We kind of shopped together at the same time. And so we went in with a good game plan. We were going to wash all the collards together. And then, because we were right across from each other, I believe, and just like put them in the middle and go for it. So we did that together. And then so I meat grinders where it's supposed to be, attachments are where they are supposed to be. Awesome. Again, main component is my sausage. And so I'm trying to put this meat grinder together, and like we all have different styles of meat grinders, but at the end of the day, it's line up the pin, line up the blade, seal it. Yeah. So I'm like fucking with that. And then I look at Brandon and I'm like, Brandon, like, am I an idiot? Like, what is going on here? And like, thank God he actually stopped what he was doing and he like tried to help me. He's like, these aren't right. So I call for culinary. And like they come in, they're like, oh yeah, we'll go get the right attachments.
Wait, but aren't you on the clock?
Yeah, I'm on the clock. I don't even know if I'm supposed to be talking about this, but whatever. Yeah. 45 minutes. So 15 minutes go by. They're like, and I'm like, I can get some stuff working. And then I'm like, hey, check in. They're like 30 minutes out. And I'm like,
you're screwed.
I'm on the clock. So they finally bring me some sort of like KitchenAid attachment, right? I'm like, okay, so I can make my sausage. Somehow I fucking knock it out. I roll all of the rolls. I go into the steamer. Steamer's on when I open it.
All right, this is one of my big questions is like, what happened with the steamer? Because I thought it was a malfunction or something.
It had to have been. I still don't know. Steamer was on when I threw it in. I didn't need to set a timer because they're all over the place. And then I go and pull it ice cold.
Not even...
Nothing. So the pork is completely raw.
And the light's on, like it just...
Yeah, I have no idea.
To this day.
No clue. But now I only have like 16 minutes left on the clock. And so our first plate that we plated has to look, every other plate has to look exactly the same. And so I have raw pork. So I'm throwing in the deep fryer. I'm throwing it on the flat top. Like I just want to get something cooked on this plate. And I knew my first plate was not an entree by no means, but nothing was raw. There was season, there was flavor.
It was a dish.
It was a dish. Yeah. And then I present, I'm just like, I knew it was going to be me. I knew it. Then I get told, oh, hey, you can plate your original dish. We heard what happened. And I'm like, no, I can't because I just used it all. So then I had to come up with some other bullshit thing that I was just like,
oh, Brittany.
I was just like, you know, and then I was just like,
Wait, so they're like, hey, we got the attachments, we're good to go. And you're like, no, I've already.
I had to figure it. Yep. I already used all this. I can't rework my dish because I had to cook all my pork.
I can't go to Whole Foods and get another.
Whole Foods Market.
Whole Foods Market and get, excuse me, sorry, Whole Foods. Whole Foods Market to go get more food and you're already in the shit.
Yeah. So now I was like, who needs help? Yeah.
So, but you go to Last Chance Kitchen, you have that experience with these chefs, you have long-lasting relationships. That's what I keep hearing about is you're almost have like an adopted family.
Oh, 100%.
That you could talk to them about anything. They've been through a lot together. And the mental grind that you go on Top Chef, it does something strengthening those bonds with the other.
Yeah, and it's worth everything. Like, it's worth all the stress. It's worth the meat grinder attachment, the shitty steamer, just to walk out with friendships that are going to be lifelong and having just awesome opportunities with awesome people. And, you know, and for me, like, obviously, like, my career is Italian, you know, working under Mark Forgione, then Maria, and, you know, now at Stagioni, that's what I do. But then, like, I have learned so much from these other chefs. Like, Seeger's so into, like, fermentation, and, like, I've learned things from him. Nana with the West African flavors that, like, I've never even heard of. I've learned from her, and, like, Lawrence with the Chinese background, but then also with Turkish
food.
Yeah,
what?
like exactly. Yeah. And so like just being able to have these opportunities to either further my career and my like palate and like skills is just like really exciting. So I can't wait to be able to do more things with these chefs.
I can't believe what it took for you to put yourself out there. I don't think people realize what a big your whole life story is now, and some of your most vulnerable or like awkward moments are on TV for the world to see, and you don't know what's going to make it or not.
Exactly. That was really, so the day that the trailer aired, all of us got on a Zoom call to congratulate all of us. Obviously, we already did it, right? But like, it was just a really cool moment that like, hey, let's just all jump on Zoom and just say congrats. Like, here it is. And so we had already like, filming was done. We already got back into the real world, right? And then when it airs and we have to relive it, and it was so exciting. And like, I think Oscar was like, why am I nervous right now? And I was like, I am too, you know, like just seeing it again. And then kind of that like, not fear, but just like interest of like, what's going to be shown? Like, how am I going to like be portrayed as? Or like, is it going to really show who I am? And I think for me that it did show who I am. It showed, you know, vulnerable moments, and it showed successful moments, and like I'm happy with the way that I was shown.
Yeah, you should be proud. You know,
it's crazy. It's still very, very surreal.
what message do you want to, because when you go around New York City or Houston or LA, Charlotte, there are not a lot of female executive chefs and not a lot that come from Columbus, Ohio, but you're living proof that you can do this.
Yeah,
Do you feel that at all? Like, I know it's a weird thing to say, like, oh, I feel like I'm a pioneer or a trailblazer or someone that can inspire people.
How do I feel about that?
Yeah.
It's weird, but exciting because, you know, women in our industry, oh, you must be pastry, you're a baker. But like Top Chef has shown throughout the years that like women are just as big heavy hitters as men in this industry. And I think in the past, 15 years, we've really have proven that. And I'll never forget when I walked into Mark Forgione, sous chef and the pastry chef were standing right there. And I was like, hey, are you hiring? And the pastry chef was like, yeah, absolutely, for pastry. And I was like, no, hotline. And the sous chef was like, hell yeah. And I was like, all right.
Yes.
I will say that like I've never been singled out being the female. I've always been probably the only female on the hotline for a lot of my career. But, I've never thought like, oh, I'm the only girl or like go easy on me because I'm the girl. Like, no, treat me exactly how you're going to treat me. And I'm going to fucking prove to you that I deserve to be here and that I can cook just as well or better than this guy or that guy. And I think because of my New York experience and being talked down to and being like, pushed to my fucking limits of like, did I just make the right move? Like, what am I doing with my life? But I don't like to lose and I like a challenge. And so like push me and I'm going to push harder back. And I think that's what got me here.
And you go on Top Chef 7 years after you come to Charlotte with, I don't know what my plan is, but I'm going to see it is a Charlotte story. You have a very Charlotte story. Similarly, I came to Charlotte and started my next chapter of my like professional career and my family and all this. And I feel like Charlotte is very inspiring in those growth areas. I don't know exactly what my vision is of my future, but I know this is a great place to do it.
Exactly. That's exactly how I feel.
Yeah. Go to Stagioni, go hang out with Blanche.
Yeah. Come on over.
Yeah. I haven't met her yet.
I can introduce you.
You think so?
Yeah, sure.
Oh, that would be really cool.
Yeah, we'd love it.
Oh my gosh. I'm really nervous now.
Don't be.
Okay.
You'll be fine.
All right. You sure? I won't put anything in high places.
No. We'll keep sharp objects away. We'll get you a cocktail. You can have the Blanche as a cocktail.
Yep.
So, it'll be fun. It'll be great.
Well, thank you so much for doing this,
Thank you.
Brittany. Cookies for Kids Cancer.
Yep.
And Meals on Wheels, you just got back from Philly. Anything else you'd like to shout out before we wrap up here?
Cookies for Kids Cancer, our big dinner will be October 6th this year at the KC. And there's going to be some exciting chefs joining us this year for the first time.
That's what we call a tease. Yeah. Brittany Cochran, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.